Lyrics are basically about what I like would feel to be on like the front line of like a battlefield, and just through my eyes how I think of how fucked up the situation is to have your life in someone else's hands and you have to kill or be killed. So that's basically what the song in a nutshell is about, kill or be killed. So it's something I've never written about before, and I found it really interesting to write about. It was a good one to write. I think me and Pads wrote it together when we were in a studio, just trying to write some new stuff. We just was sitting in the living room of his flat, just chilling out, having a couple of drinks, and we came up.
Didn't it? Yeah.
It was just kind of
We
one
had
of those
about
riffs
5 or
that
6, during that session. I really, kind of stuck around for the main meat and potatoes for the album. So
With all the tracks, the music was all written before the lyrics, so for each track we done the music before the lyrics.
Lyrically, it was written in a hotel room in LA. Again, intoxicated to quite a high level. And just the music kind of dictated the lyrics on this one, because it's really kind of thrashy and loads of speed picking, and not blast beats, but it's pretty high energy, high tempo stuff. And I just thought the music to me represented chaos and danger and nastiness. So I just kind of thought, what would it be like to be caught up in kind of like this chaos of like a hurricane and running for your life kind of thing.
Mother Nature's fury and stuff,
Yeah,
when something like that happens, like a big storm, what goes on, it's thought it'd be cool to write about Mother Nature.
Yeah, it's something again I've never really dabbled in lyrically, and it was just so instantly inspiring to write about, because I've never been there before.
Especially with all the weather changes lately as well, like with all the stuff that's going on in the world as well.
It could be taken as a statement, yeah. Just a future warning.
It's basically written about life on the road, being away from loved ones and stuff, missing them, and then not being able to see them for such a long time, and then finally coming home and finally getting to see them again, because that's where we spent most of our time of the last 2 to 3 years, is on the road touring, not really being home much. So when you finally do get home to see them, your heart bursts into fire kind of thing,
Musically, it's something a little bit different. Again, the majority of the song is in a major key, which is what we've never dabbled in before, which makes it sound a bit more uplifting. And it's got the big kind of power ballad arena intro solo and stuff, which is cool. And then the middle section drops down to a minor then, so it gives it this massive mood swing, which is really cool. I think the dynamics in that song are excellent. That song is just reflects life in school or in a workplace, and kind of being picked on and pushed about for a long time. Like me and the boys were in school because we were into metal music and we had long hair and stuff like that, which I'm sure loads of people around the world can relate to. And then one day just not taking the bullshit anymore and standing up on your own 2 feet and fighting back, So that's what the song is about lyrically, and musically it's definitely the hardest on the track, it doesn't really let up at all. Big bullet style chorus, which is what we've grown to love about what our band is about. We 1 minute we can go from extreme, power kind of metal riffing and drumming into this huge epic kind of beautiful chorus. So it's probably in my top 3 songs on the album.
I like this one. What's it about?
Kind of the same thing as Demon.
It's not a kind of story about being bullied and stuff like that, growing up same as Demon, really, kind of 2 songs about the same kind of thing, about finally getting your revenge on the person that's made your life a living hell for most of your childhood, and then you grew up and stood up for yourself, and now the tables are turned, kind of thing. So yeah, it's about that. Musically, on tour, was it?
Yeah, there's nothing really spectacularly going on or complicated riff-wise. It's just more about the vocal melodies on this song, and the music is just setting the foundation straight. If you listen to it instrumentally, it's just as entertaining without the lyrics on, which is always a good sign when we're writing a tune, whether it's going to be a hit or not, really. The song itself is not as sinister musically as it sounds. It's more lyrically, it's very dark. It's about all the crap I went through with my throat last year and the operations and all that crap. and how just bitter and depressed I was at the time, thinking that, you know, I may not ever be able to be the front man of this band again because I didn't think I could sing. But so it's just basically getting all my anger, frustration, depression, all this kind of negative stuff out into a song. And you know, that one of all the songs on the album, that's the one that's most real and from my heart. You know, that's exactly how I was feeling at the time. You know, just pissed off at being in a band, really.
I mean, along with his worries, I mean, you know, personally, it was his throat, you know, but I mean, we were in the band that he sings for, so, you know, kind of, you know, he's our singer too. But I mean, that's all we could do was be supportive. I mean, to actually nominate yourself to go in for an operation that's pretty cool. It's just big balls. So that's all we could do was support and continue to.
Mm-hmm. That song was kicking about as an instrumental for a while. Again, it's a lot more thrashier than anything on the Poison, a lot more up tempo. It's got probably one of the most beautiful middle sections that we've ever created on a song. Very epic, very guitar hero arena-esque.
Yeah.
And then, you know, lyrically and vocally, it's a collaboration with one of our friends, Benji, who's in a band called Skin Red. So yeah, lyrically, it's about taking out frustration in a positive way, you know, which in the song relates to coming to a show, getting in a mosh pit with your friends, and just letting go, instead of like taking to crime or drink or drugs or anything kind of crap. So that's what the song is about, and like I said, you know, me and Benji wrote that together, and you know, luckily for us, you know, we've got him singing on there as well, and he's an amazing talent as a vocalist. So it's a cool song, you know, and it's different for us as well because we've never had anyone else singing on a Bullet track. So it's, when I listen to that song, you know, for me, I won't say it's the best song on the album, but you know, it's up there as good as any. But it's nice. I like listening to it just because it's got that extra flavour of Benji.
Different, yeah. It's definitely a standout track on the album. As soon as you listen to it, it's like, ooh, that's different. So it's kind of cool.
This one, love.
Yeah, that one's basically it's a real heartfelt song. Basically written about life and death and coming into the world and going out of the world, and it's really personal to me, you know, in a big way because it kind of happened to me about a year and a half ago last summer. My dad passed away as my daughter was being born, so we kind of wrote that one about that kind of thing, like as someone comes into the world, somebody goes out of the world, and the transition of life and death. So it's a really big song, really, and it's dear to all of us as well, because it was a really hard time for me and a hard time for the band when it happened as well.
It was a very dark time for the band, you know what I mean? We were on such a roll and riding the wave with all this success. We were actually on tour with Guns N' Roses at the time, which is a fucking amazing thing to do. And then Jay got the call to go home because kind of time was ticking, unfortunately, for his dad, you know, so he went home to spend time with his father. And our guitar tech Kev filled in so we could continue the tour, but it was just weird, you know, it wasn't the same, and I don't know, it was just a horrible time, you know. It's definitely the saddest song on the album, like musically and lyrically, the song.
Also one of the happiest as well, in a way as well, because it's like about the baby being born too, you know, so it's kind of a happy and sad song, and it's like, it's kind of makes felt like, but a lot of people can like adapt to that song as well and listen to that song and learn from it, like, because it doesn't just happen to it happens to everyone, like, so. Yeah.
You know, it's just you know, life is, you know, being born and life is dying. That's just the way life is. But to have it in such an extreme form at this one point in time,
at the same time for
it's just such a head fuck to deal with. You know, it was just like, wow, this is, you know, it's like his father and his girlfriend were in the same hospital, so he was going from ward to ward, going from life to death. Do you know what I mean? It's just a really, really fucked up thing, man.
So it's such a big thing to deal with, you know. So yeah, it's a very big song, dear song to all of us.
Very, very epic musically as well. You know, it's built to be played on the top of a mountain with wind in the air. So it's more of a fictional one. This that was probably musically, that one is probably the oldest of the lot on Screaming on Fire. That one was written musically in Germany. Yeah, it was like when we were on tour with the Poison, really. And it was kicking off for ages, and then we finally got to get time to write lyrics. And the concept of it is basically about, should the human race be in a position where we're told there's just 24 hours to live, what are you going to do? So it was kind of the two extremes, whether you'd like just live the 24 hours as hard as you could and just do something like take drugs and get pissed and go around fucking girls.
Do something you've always wanted to do, anything.
Yeah, or would you just lock yourself in your house with your family, friends, loved ones, partners, and just spend every single second you could with those? So it's just kind of the two extremes of how people might react to.
It's just something you always think about, you know. Everyone's thought about it. Imagine I had one day to live. What would I do? You know, we just thought it was a really good thing to actually write about. Like, it's kind of interesting about what you do. Like, so all the frustration and kind of anger of having one day to live comes out in the song.
Lyrically, that one is kind of in the same vein as what Four Words to Choke Upon is about. You know, even though we've sold like over 1 million albums worldwide and we've toured with the biggest names on the planet and sold out global tours of our own, you know, there's still people out there that seem to not respect what we've done, and regardless of what they think of us as a band, you know, people should just give us a little bit of like, well, you know, the boys have done it, like, you know, but there's still people out there dissing us, saying we're this, we're that, we can't write songs, we can't play live, you know, I mean, all this bullshit, and just people saying that we're things that, you know, they don't really know us, and you know, what we've achieved on a debut album, being a Welsh metal band, is fucking unheard of, so
so we got to do something.
Just deserve a little bit of respect, and so for the people that are still thinking what they think, it's kind of like, fuck you.
Grow up, bro.
No, I mean, like when we first broke out and the Poison was released, and people were saying that, yeah, it was a little bit frustrating, but at the same time it's like, yeah, okay, well, you know, we've got to prove our point a little bit more, and I think 2 years on, you know, I think we have, but still people have their ignorant mentalities about us for whatever reason.
I mean, it kind of makes me laugh because I don't see how they can see that, say those things that, you know, and not even see that we actually come this far, you know, in our career. Like, I mean, where's the logic of saying them things if we've just done what we've done, and we're as,
you know,
high as we are in our
people can
career.
mock us as much as they want, you know, but at the end of the day,
fact that we are good as we are. Like.
Yeah, we've toured the world with our idols. We've sold over 1 million albums. You know, we've seen things and achieved things that 99.9% of the world's population will ever fucking do. You know, so we'll have the last laugh.
The balls in our court.
And you'd probably find the people that are mostly jealous and pissed off that we are doing that are saying those things. Like.
It's quite sad, but you know, we're doing our thing, and that's all that matters to us. Yeah, a lot of people, like you said, do see what we've achieved as rapid success, and in the short term of things, yeah, it has been, like, we've had an EP and an album out, and the things we've achieved off it are pretty ridiculous if you think about it, but they don't see the 7 years of slugging and sacrificing literally jobs, like loved ones, like girlfriends breaking up because of the band, and you know, we did that for 7 years before we got any recognition, like, and now it's 4 years on, we've been a band together for 11 years, you know, so people don't see that, so you know, people aren't going to know the whole story, and people are always going to have their opinions, which they have the right to, but you know, before they start opening their mouths and talking shit, they should realise the facts, you know. This song is kind of a weird one. It was like, it wasn't, when we first went to Texas to record the album, the song didn't even exist, and it still didn't exist until about August this year. So I wrote basically the outro part on a tour bus in America like 6 months ago, before we even went into the studio, but just didn't do anything with it, so the whole song was written around the outro, which is a really weird way of doing things, I guess, but the riff was so epic and it had so much potential that I was like, alright, lucky enough we had the time. The weird thing about me having all the crap in my throat is we had time, and in that time that song was born, so it's kind of a nice, you know, advantage of what we went through, but like you said, it's by far the most epic thing we've ever done. Just, I don't know why or how, it just is, but you know, it's got everything that was in a song that should be played in an arena. It's as simple as that, you know. And the song, it's kind of a negative and positive. It's just about the highs and lows of being in a touring rock band, but you know, the hook of the song is like, I want to stay here forever and always, and that's basically my reference to being on stage with a microphone in my face, singing to, you know, tens of thousands of people every night. So it's, you know, it's a really cool song, and like I said, it's one of my favourites, and that will definitely be the set closer for the next 2 years probably. Yeah, you know, that's, we obviously didn't like want to copy it or anything. It's just, like I said, the guitar riff and all of the overlayers, so to speak, to make it that huge guitar kind of epic outro was written before the drums, and the only thing we could put on there to not interrupt with it was something arena-esque, you know, so just the way that the drum outro starts and everything is, you know, it's got the clap in there, it's just built for arenas, you know, so.